different appetites for, there we go. All right, I'm going to start on time because I've got a hard stop at 9. There was probably days worth of content that people ask and question. So I think I might do this again if this is successful and you guys find this valuable. But I know reading between the lines of all the questions, I can resonate with the questions because they were things I asked. And back when we started, we didn't have many people to go to and talk to, and trying to differentiate the baloney from truth out on the web is impossible. And the Phantom's courses are very structured, and Blue does a great job. But it's funny, a lot of the questions that I got weren't really things that get taught day to day in the class. So I thought I would give you a little bit about myself to give you some perspective of my journey, and then really go into some of the content that we talked about, the playbooks and strategy and execution. A little bit about myself. I was raised in Montana, went to Arizona State, moved to Michigan out of college, and raised a family for 30 years, and then moved back to Arizona. About 3 years ago, I love my job. I'm director of merchandising operations. I sit between IT and the business. Been at the company called Meyer for 30 years. Loved the work, but as I'm getting older, I really started getting interested in investing and understanding that. But the family budget couldn't afford anything, so we were just I shouldn't say getting by, but my wife is very adverse to risk. I'm averse to risk, and so we were dabbling and learning, and I almost quit 100 times because of all the crap out there on YouTube and the internet. About 3 years ago, then about 2 years ago, I thought I'm going to start earning some money. So I started Ubering, donating plasma to build up my trading fund, and had about 5-10 grand, and had hip surgery. So I was down for 8 weeks. And right at that time, I stumbled across Phantoms, started trading Forex, and promptly lost 3 or 4 grand out of the gate. And I thought I was following the rules. I thought I was playing the trades, but it seemed like whenever I took a trade off the sheet, I took the wrong trade. I didn't have enough capital to take all the trades, so I could see how taking all the trades you net out higher, but I seem to always pick the one blue trade or one green trade that I lost money. So I made a decision then that I was going to learn for myself the process, and then only take the trades I saw from blue and from green based on my own perspective. So I stepped back and went back to Uber, donating, built my account back up, and started trading on myself. So what I want to cover today is, and then real quick about myself, I've got 6 grandkids. I got 4 kids, 3 are married. Most of them are either here in Arizona or working their way here. So this for me is something I love doing on the side, something I'll probably do, I know I'll do when I retire, but it's a great way for me to augment my lifestyle, keep my mind sharp, and I just love doing it. So I'm sure something in there resonated with many of you as you're struggling. There was times where I couldn't even afford the $100. I shouldn't say I couldn't afford it, but it was a pinch to afford the $100 Phantom, much less all of the other software and tools and things. So what I want to walk away from today is I want to walk away from you guys understanding the tools that I use. My main tool set is my PowerPoint. So I'll show you how I capture and use my PowerPoint to remind myself of my strategy and my trades. I use OneNote religiously. I don't know who here uses OneNote, but if you don't, it's probably one of the best tools that I've found to be able to document these things. And then you can search it. I can get it from my phone, from my work computer, my home computer, wherever I'm at, it goes with me. So if you don't use OneNote, I would encourage you to use OneNote. One of the things I heard in many of the questions, and I hear all the time, is how do you document and trade? How do you document and journal all of the stuff, because it feels like I'm spending more time journaling than trading, and I'm not really learning. It just feels like one more thing I've got to do, I don't have time to do, and don't see the value. So what I hope to show you today is my simple approach to documenting and how I do it, and ideas of how you can make something sustainable. Oh, I gotta admit somebody who's waiting. Admit. Sorry, Brian. MC. I didn't see the pop-up that said let somebody in. So PowerPoint, OneNote, Ninja. I use Ninja. I know it's one more tool to learn, but it's something that I found is super, super easy to execute and to manage my trades for futures. And it's a super powerful tool. And once you get through the learning curve, because there is a little bit of one, then I would admit. How do I make it so it admits everybody without me having to admit them? Sorry. And then, of course, I don't want to go into Trading View. You guys all use Trading View. But one thing I found is if you enter a trade on Trading View and I'm in 10 contracts, I can't just take off 2. At least I haven't been able to figure that out. So I enter on the increments that I want to increment and manage, and then I can, in Trading View, I can move things around. So that's kind of where I thought we'd start today. The biggest question I heard from people, and bear with me, I'm trying to share a screen, but I've got 4 screens and they're big, and the ones I wanted to share this morning are going to be too small as you guys look at them. One of the first things that I heard was around playbook structure and what do I trade? Questions: how do I simplify what I'm learning into something executable? How do I stop bouncing between ideas and trades? What do my trades and my daily process look like? How do I structure my penny pincher, VWAP test, core trades? How do I review the daily trades? And then how do I structure it? One of the questions I got was, how many strategies is too many strategies? And I hope that I'll show you today that I only use a few. I document the pictures and trades I do use, and I review them. And so when I'm in a, let's say I'm in a situation, I just do a query real quick on my OneNote or my PowerPoint, and I go to those pictures that I've taken screenshots of, and I go, oh yeah, that's right. I look for this thing. I look for the weekly VWAP. I look for this piece. And so I have my PowerPoint and my OneNote up all the time. So let me share with you my PowerPoint. I've got 2 main PowerPoints I use. One of them is my trade playbook, and one of them is my rules. So let me share that first. Computer share.
Joe, are these items that are in your master trading links?
No. So
Okay.
I share the links because those links mainly have the things I've shared at Phantoms. A lot of the stuff I'm going to show you, I've shared screenshots with you guys. I don't think I've ever shared my entire playbook and my entire strategy. I'm not sure if I'm comfortable doing the whole thing. So I try to only share things that I've polished and that are good. Plus, I'm so busy with my day job and my grandkids and my family. It's sometimes hard to, I don't want to throw it out there unless it's good quality. But as I show you, I'm going to show you some stuff that's rough. It's not rough for me, but I want it to generate some ideas for you to be able to go, oh, I could do that. Oh, that's a good idea. Or that's how I want to do it. Because I really want you to walk away with, what are you going to do differently for your own trading business that you can improve what you're doing? You're not just, you're using my ideas to maybe foster some more ideas for you and give you some things to think about and an approach. And it doesn't have to be perfect. That was the one thing I wanted to say is, as you document, trade, do this, remember, you're in this for the long run. You're not trying to do this for tomorrow and be blue or Santo tomorrow. You're doing this and you're slowly gathering components, and my stuff evolves and changes all the time as I slowly mature it. So let me share with you my screen. I gotta figure out what screen I want to share first. Let me share this one. And I apologize, I have to look up. That's my first one I want to share. And my second one I want to share is that one. And then where did you guys go? Alt tab. There you go. Now I'm going to share what window? Share this window. Share. Can you guys see this okay?
Yes.
Yep, it's up there.
Okay, good. So I've got two main PowerPoints that they're not black and white. I flip between the two. I've got a playbook, trade playbooks, and then I also have this one right here, which is my trading rules. So this is the one that I go through every day, and I want to pace myself. It's 12 after. I'm going to give myself 8 or 9 minutes, and then I want to get into Ninja and Thinkorswim, because that was the big thing I got also questions on, was show me how to get in and get out and manage my playback, my on-demand, and my tools, because that's the thing I think I want you guys to make sure you have. So I have this open every day. It's where I throw my ideas in. There's some 50 or 60 slides, but I go through here in the morning, especially go through it if I've made a bad trade or want to remind myself. So I slowly add on here. I want to make sure, no, just my rules. So I make sure it closes, let the market come to me. I remind myself these are my time frames I use: 2, 5, 15, 30, 64. So it's just,
Joseph, I think you're showing the wrong screen.
am I?
Yeah, you're moving your cursor, but onto other slides. But the only
Oh,
thing,
thank you. Let me present something else. Entire screen.
Yeah, you need to share the screen that's presenting. There we go.
There we go. So thanks for telling me that. So there's the first playbook, is my playbooks, and then this is the one where I've got my trading rules. Does that help? Is that better?
Yes.
Awesome.
Could
Yes,
you
sir.
move the trading rules up on the screen a little bit? There you go. Thank
How's
you.
that?
Perfect.
I can trade, but I can't do PowerPoint. So again, just make a PowerPoint, start throwing your rules in there, doing screenshots and your notes, and then slowly mature it. Doesn't work, delete it. But I have my rules. I remind myself of my time frames. I remind myself when to use my scanner. There's the 5, 10, 15, 30, 4-hour up, down. So I've got all these if anyone wants them, but there's my scanner. This is how I've used to teach some of you how to use a scanner. There's my Ninja time frames. So Ninja looks just like TradingView. I've got monthly, weekly, day 4, 60, 30, 15, 5, and 2. I'm mainly a 5-minute trader. I enter on the 2, I confirm on the 15 and 30, and I drive for the 4-hour. So I'll share that with you in a second. I've got my rules that I remind myself when I make mistakes, and I've slowly added to my list of don't do this, do this. And I especially force myself to go through this and remind myself of what these rules are, the things I look for, my basic, I will plan this, I will do this, I will set goals, and I remind myself this all the time. But it's easy in a PowerPoint to go click, 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 click. Things I look for, I remind myself everything has to have location, structure, condition. These are things that get harped on every day by Blue. Admit one guest. How do I admit? Admit all. Why can't I add them? Admit. It's not letting me let them in. Admit all. There we go. And then, Mariani, do you have a question real quick?
Yes. Firstly, thank you, Joseph, for holding this meeting. You said earlier that you enter on the 5. I mean, you look for a confirmation on the 5 and then enter on the 2. So do you look for like a COG on the 5 and then just snipe the 2-minute?
Yeah, typically I'm looking for monthly, weekly, daily, of course, always, but I'm mainly on day trading a 4-hour. I'm looking at the 4-hour time frame, and I'm looking for, and I'll show you my picture I use to remind myself. In that 4-hour, I look for confluence with that direction, and I'll enter on. I look for the 30-minute cog is my all in, but I typically fine tune it to get in small on the 2. I add on the 5, because in futures I don't want to spend the risk of a 30-minute stop loss. I don't want to spend a 4-hour stop loss. So I'll typically go in. Sometimes if I'm really feeling good about it, I'll go in on a 2-minute cog. I'll add on a 5-minute cog. I'll confirm even more on a 15-minute cog, and then when the 30-minute cog happens, there's usually a pullback, and then I'll look again for the 5 and the 2 and continue on. So that's really, but I'm always looking at where's the 4-hour going? Where is it in line with the weekly, monthly? Because typically a day has 2 4-hour windows. And so that's why I really look for that. And I'll show you a picture, which is a great question. So then I remind myself always of the candles I shared. Again, I'm just showing you the things I've shared over time, the 13 candles. These are my friends. And you can see I've just taken pictures and screenshots and written down notes. Look for this pattern on the 200. Look for this pattern on the 20. Look for this pattern below monthly VWAP. Look for this pattern for reversal above the 20. This is the 20 in the monthly. Look for reversals. Look for candles. Look for the 3 outside up, 3 outside down, inside bar, mother bar. So these are just things that I've done to remind myself of positions. Here's an example of a trade I took on the 19th. And it's one, and what I do is as I'm trading, I'm documenting. So I am slowly, as the day's going on, I have a PowerPoint or I have a screenshot, and I'm slowly documenting my screen as it's happening. Dummy, don't do this. I should have gone in heavier here. Stop it here. And so as I'm watching the trade, sometimes documenting the trade in the PowerPoint or in my OneNote helps me. Oh, why did I do that? What am I thinking about? And then that way I'm documenting as I'm trading. My documentation isn't something I do after the fact on the weekend that I don't have time to do. I'm doing it as I'm trading, taking screenshots, throwing it in my OneNote, and being done with it. So as the day came on, entered here, look for a COG. My idiot box, I throw it up here. Don't trade here, Joe. Wait for a confirmation. It broke, didn't confirm, added, equal high, idiot box. So really my only window of trading was here in the morning and here late morning, but then I stayed out all afternoon. So, and again, this was something I did as I was trading, and it wasn't something I had to do later. So hope that gives you some ideas on that. Stupid stuff I've done where I'm doing these things and remind myself, don't do these, Joes. Don't trade here short. Don't trade into supply. Don't trade over at 200. Don't skip my EMAs. Reduce my load when my premise is going bad. So take time to write down the things you do and the things you don't do, and remind yourself that it just takes repetition, repetition, repetition. These are the things I look for: trends, trades, inside bar, remind myself my inside bar rules. These are more of my friends. Here's a trade I took. Again, looking for the signal bar. There's my positive COG entry bar. There's my follow through bar to add. There's my high of day out, stop loss out. So these are just, it doesn't have to be really hard. Just take a second, document the picture, throw it in there, remind yourself, looking for pivot points, inside bar, outside bar. This is one that I look at all the time. These are the 6 patterns I'm always looking for. And based on these patterns, changes how I trade. So if I have a real big push in the morning, here's how I trade. If it calms down in the late morning, here's how I trade. As it flattens out, I'm reducing risk, but I'm still looking for the 20, the COG, the EMA. If I see this pattern, I'm more buy, sell, broad channel, and a range. I'm looking for short scalps. So whatever those patterns are for you guys, just know them. It doesn't have to be complicated. I don't have a lot of strategies, but I look for these 6 patterns. Based on these 6 patterns, I'll change my risk profile. I'll change where my stops are. I'll change where my targets are. But you'll see these patterns all the time. And I'll show you one of the days that we traded that was just like this. And then most of the time when it's like this, like Friday, up, down, up, down. Friday was more like this. Thursday was more like this. So again, you're just gonna, and I'll throw my PowerPoint and I'll just scroll through, what does this pattern look like? What does this pattern look like? And then here's my main 4-hour strategy. So looking for a 4-hour time frame, uptrend, my uptrend, downtrend, range, fade. And then here's the picture I remind myself all the time. So here's a 4-hour uptrend. What I'm looking for is a pullback into 4-hour, 30, 1-hour demand. This is the 1-hour time frame. So this bar becomes this bar. Then I'm looking for a 5-minute COG. If this is really strong, I'll do a front side. If it's really not so strong, I'll do a back side. But these are my rules. I enter at the 5-minute COG, stop below demand. I add on the 15 if I see it. I add on 30 if I see it. My target's either the high of day, next supply, G-trap level. So those are where I'm looking for, or one measured move. And then I remind myself, don't go front side unless I'm positive. And then I'm looking for a 2-minute, possibly, to dip my toe in, 5-minute COG. I'm more confirmed. Wait for it to break that 5-minute bar. Wait for it to break the 30-minute bar. On the 30-minute bar, it does come back a little bit often. And then I'm going to add once that 30-minute bar is broken, and off I go. But I had lots of questions on, Joe, what's your strategy? I would ask you guys the same thing. What's your strategy? And can you articulate it to a spouse or to a friend? Can you articulate it if someone was in the elevator and said, hey, Joe, what's your strategy? Oh, it's easy. Looking for a 4-hour uptrend. I'm pulling back into demand. I'm looking for confluence between the COG. I'm looking for the EMA VWAP test, and then off I go. So you should be able to articulate that, and it should be second nature as you look for it. But the only way I learned to do that was by drawing crayon pictures and then fine-tuning it. So here's the same thing. Looking for inside bars, outside bars. And for me, I just take a screenshot, throw it in my PowerPoint, and I'm done. See, here's an example where I didn't follow my rule. I failed, it went further. Here's more pictures of, I'm looking for stop loss below demand. I enter on the 5. I enter on the VWAP test. I exit at high of day, negative COG. So these are just pictures that I've taken, cheat sheets. You guys have seen my COGs. I'm looking for, this is a pain point, I'm going to buy. This is a greed point, I'm going to sell. But pictures, 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 pictures. What a backside looks like, what a front side looks like. I remind myself of all of the VWAPs, what slope VWAP, pin VWAP, high of day VWAP. This is from the video I've shared from Brian Shannon. What a pinch looks like, what a handoff looks like. So these are things I look at all the time to remind myself, oh yeah, that's right, I haven't done a pinch, I haven't done a handoff VWAP. Or yesterday it was pinch between the high of day VWAP and the low of day VWAP. I've got all of my GEX pictures, what to look for, green, red, blue, positive gamma. Remind myself of what I'm looking for, bearish and bullish. Looking for pictures of what it looked like when I traded it and what it looked like. More pictures. Negative, price goes through. This, so just again, that's my biggest thing, is just taking pictures real quick. I have extra strategies I use. Here's my momentum exit. Here's another example of a trade I took. Positive COG on the 5. I added on the 15. I added, came back, broke the bar. I was out. Didn't take this, waited for the pullback. Didn't have the courage because this was coming into a yearly high or all-time high. So I waited until it broke the all-time high, proved to me that it was going to break, and then I added. And then I was out at the negative COG. So this is my documentation. It's super straightforward, super simple. I just use crayons. And then I'll go back. Then I went back that night and took more notes. Reduce here, added here, remind myself here. So I would say probably 9 out of 10 times I don't go back. What I'll probably do is go retrade it. But this is a really great way just to go back here. And then I always have this. What do I do when I'm trading into all-time highs? What do I do when, and I can do a query and search. Remind myself, don't get married to ideas, read the tape, paint bars. Here was a VIX question. Here was my rules around the 200. Dummy Joe, 200, 200, 200. When it goes into the 200 and the weekly, pay attention. And then I put my P&L right here. Here's an example. You can't really see it, but here's an example where I traded it in the morning and I came up with, I think I made a couple $1,000. Then I came back and retraded it multiple times to bring my profit to 6. So like I said yesterday in the chat, I'll trade it and go, you know what? I left so much money on the table. I came into the 200 negative COG, VWAP below weekly, monthly, weekly, daily, 200. What the heck, Joe? These are all your rules. It was perfectly lined up. Why did I go in like a timid little mouse? I should have gone all in. It was probably the best day of the month right here. But this is my come to Jesus. It broke the trend line, positive COG, back to 200, flat 200, bam, VWAP all day long. The second thing that I use for documentation is my OneNote. Actually, let me show you the rest of the PowerPoint. So this was my trading rules PowerPoint, and then this one was my playbook. And I've shared many of these with you guys. There's my fashionably late play. If I miss the COG and the 9 comes into VWAP and I see conviction, I enter at the break. I look for one measured move. I'm out at one measured move, leave a runner until a negative COG. But this is something I look at, remind myself, okay, this is a fashionably late. This one is a Spencer scalp, which is basically when it breaks, it fades into VWAP. It breaks my idiot box with conviction. Off I go. So this is my Spencer scalp. There's my rubber band or climatic reversion where I'm coming way away extended from VWAP. Put my stop at the bottom of the bear bar of the bullish bar, enter out of VWAP. Again, just take pictures. And this has been something that I've just documented and added and added and added. What are my entry rules? What are my excess rules? What are my stop loss rules? And it's just something I've just added to as I failed. I'm looking for VWAP. Breaks in the morning, comes back to VWAP. I missed it. I come back for the retest. I see it is proving VWAP. There's my trend line, positive COG, very bullish bar. I'm in. and I trail it all day. And then I use my penny pincher to stop on the 9, because there's the 9, there's VWAP. But I can't encourage you guys enough just to pick a couple trades and just start with 1 or 2. I started with, and I call them my easy money trades. These are my trades that if I'm down for the week, down for the day, and they're not my revenge trades. These things are my easy money trades. They're basic, they're simple. I'll look for them, and I'll only let myself do these trades when I'm really down. The fade, when I'm breaking a trend line, and again, this is the picture of the bull channel. There's my trend line, breaks my trend line, shows a COG, wait for the pullback, stop goes below, wait till I get a negative COG on the 5, I'm out. Leave a runner on, I'm out. So start with the picture, start putting arrows on that PowerPoint. It's a great place to do that. The 9 a.m. reclaim. So this is basically back to VWAP again, same basic picture. I'm looking for, there's that 9 a.m. push, comes back, 220 VWAP, positive COG on the 2, add on the 5, go till I just see a negative COG, leave a runner on, get stopped out, probably got stopped out there, and off I go. There's my gap and crop I shared yesterday. Here's some of my exit runners I use. There's my penny pincher I've shared a bunch of times. There's a bunch I've got in progress. Here is my SPX. But this one you need a margin account with at least 25 grand to be able to trade, especially SPX spreads. But this is my playbook of what I'm looking for when I trade condors, when I trade debits and debit credits. There's my cheat sheet. Again, it's just, I'm looking for patterns. I'm looking for pieces. Where's my stop loss? And this was back when I was learning what is a bull put, what is a bear call, where do I put the bracket, what does it look like? Here it is in Blue's pictures. Again, more pictures. Looking for Pyre Bar Beach, Hitchhiker. So these are more of my trades. But again, just start making your PowerPoints, start documenting. This is the other thing, show of hands, or do you guys use OneNote? Is it something you guys use at all? Anybody?
Yes.
Alex uses it. Good. Chris, good. Yeah, if you don't use OneNote, it's free. If you have Solomon, good. Brian, good. If you have a Google account and you have Office at home, it is free. And you can follow. I use it on my phone. I can use it at home. I can use it at work. When I'm at work, they can't. When I'm at home, it's right there. So I wouldn't use your work OneNote, but if you have a Google account, you have a Microsoft account, and you have Office at home, which we all do, you use it. And you can see right here, can you guys see my screen big enough? Is it big enough? So this is where I throw everything. You can see I've got all of my indicators that I use. Don't give up on here. Here's my leaps. Here's my arbitrage, my trading rules. So here's my documentation. When I see something, I throw it in here. Remember this, I prefer this, I can show it here. And you can do a search on what's my OCO rules? What are my swings? So there's my trading strategy. This is where I started my trading strategy. How do I scale in? How do I scale out? What are questions I had? What's my strategy? What's my rule? Always exit when I have a reason. Always reduce when I have a reason. What's my strategy? So trading journal, my 7 sins, where's my news feeds, what's the bid versus the ask, what are the 4 stages, what's my SPX skew. Then you can see right here, I've got 2024, 2025, 2026. And then I just go through here. When I started doing it, here's my journal from 2025. Didn't do so well, distracted at work, taught someone how to do range. Here's my setup. And then as I traded the day, I just wrote down a note. Got stopped out, added a positive COG, took out at the 200, got back in when I broke the bottom, took my TP on the positives, negative COG, got back in at the Bella fade, came back in here. Actually, this was the fashionably late, got back in, took out when I had one measured move, got stopped out at the negative COG. Then trended all day, my idiot box, took a stab again at the end. I saw conviction and off I go. So it wasn't extra work. As the trade was unfolding, I was sticking my notes in here. Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, December, weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks of buy. There's my trade. There's my journal. There was a class. There's the took. There's my notes. There's where I got in. So again, it's just a great way to document everything. But I very seldom ever have to stop it in a day and go back and document, because as I'm trading and I've got money in play, I'm taking notes, I'm doing screenshots month after month after week after week after week after week. So I hope you guys find that helpful. Notes, didn't follow my rule, I missed my stop. See, here's one from this week, from the 9th, on Apple. I took Apple long, I TP'd, I added like an idiot, and then Friday happened, and then opened on, or actually Thursday, opened on Friday, and I didn't stop out. Now it was only 40 cents, 30 cents, so I just was okay to lose all premium, but at broker rule, even though it was only 30 cents, I just let it go to 0 to a penny and let it expire. But my rule said, if I see this and I see it break and I see it break below COG and it goes below here, my rule says, Joe, get out. But I didn't take it. It was 40 bucks risk. But what if this had been a $4,000 trade? What if I'd been in 10 contracts and I had the same attitude? So whether you're trading $1 or $5 or $30 or $4,000, please make sure. And then I go back to my rules. So I know we spent a lot of time on that, but that for me was huge to be able to go in and if you took nothing away from this, is start with a OneNote and a PowerPoint and start taking screenshots, start holding yourself accountable, start learning from it, because that's the power humans have over the computers, is our pattern recognition, and we're able to see things that's hard to program in a bot or in an algo. So you do have that advantage. I did want to take 39 after. I do want to take another couple minutes and talk about Thinkorswim and on demand. So this for me was this for me is an easy money trade and something that I use all the time. So when you go into Thinkorswim, you go to on demand, you click on it. I did it already because it takes a couple minutes for your computer to load it. Then you pick a date. So I picked the 6th, and then you set the time window, 9:44 a.m. and hit go. Now you can pause it and play it, and you can go fast forward minute at a time, 2 minutes at a time, but it's a great way to go in here and pick a day that you did poorly and retrade it. And then the cool thing with on demand is once you're here, I can easily go to work. So I want to real quickly show you the window. So here is January 6th, and we came in the morning, January 6th, right here. So this is the day. It's a totally uptrend. We came in the day. There's the pivot high. There's the 200. There's VWAP. I'm coming into a good trend day. So this was a good day to practice. So if I'm going to do it, and this is where I mentioned in one of the chats, if blue said, let's pretend blue calls out in the morning and says, positive COG, I'm going long SPY. Come into trade, hit SPY. You know he's going to grab a 35, 33, 35 delta. He might even, at a buck, he might even go at 52 delta. For me, I'd rather go in at 33 delta and get a couple contracts for some TPs. I copy that exact piece, and then I go over to my matrix. Paste in the matrix. Now, I have on here 9 a.m., so that's 11 a.m. So I'm 2 hours ahead. So for me, this is already 9, 10, 11, 40. So I wanted to do this in the morning at my time, 7:44. I would change this to 7:44. Go. So here I am. So besides the PowerPoint and the OneNote, if there's anything you guys take from me today, this is how I get into this. If I'm here and blue says I'm going long SPY, and I know I'm going to come in here and I want to go in with my stop here and I'm going bullish, I'm going in, let's say 3 contracts. The fastest way to do it is to have your template set up. So I have templates already set up that says I'm going to go in with 3 with a 25-cent stop loss with a 1-to-1, 2-to-1, 3-to-1. So I click on that. I have to go 3. And then I often don't go in when blue says I'm going in. I want to see it first. So typically when I see this, I'm like, you know what? I'm still below VWAP. I'm still below the EMA. I have a feeling blue is going to be right. I don't have the appetite to lose. So I'm going to put my entry. I may not make as much as blue, but I'm going to put my entry in right above VWAP. Now look what I'm in. I'm in 3 contracts with my stops and my limits. I'm going to move a limit up for a runner, and I'm going to move a limit up to my VWAP. And then if you continue to play, and I can fast forward. Come on, computer. Fast forward. There we go. So I'm in. So then, of course, always, I don't want to waste time, but then, of course, always get in the habit. I'm in my stop loss, target 1, target 2, target 3. So the cool thing with doing it this way is now that I'm in, I can easily move my stops where I need to and my targets where I need to. Now I'm going to keep playing. I'm going to go forward. I'm going to go forward. Let's say that feels good. I see a candle close. Now I want to go in and add 2 more. I would just go to my 2 bracket, limit with 2, stop loss 1-to-1, 2-to-1. I can't do 3. I've got to do multiples of here. And I'll show you guys how to do this. And then I'm going to buy market. I'm going to go right in and buy market. So now I've got 5 stops, all the same level, and I can move my target up. And then you can just play. You can fast forward faster if you want. Boom, boom, out, out. Come on, did it play? It's catching up. It is a resource hog. There we go. Sometimes if you fast forward too much, it didn't hit. But see how easy that is? It's an easy way to add 2, subtract 2. Now, the other question I get is, Joe, what if I accidentally lose my stop? Oh, crap, now I'm running with no stops. That's the other piece I get questions on. is what if I'm sitting here, I'm in 5 contracts. If I come over to my monitor, I'm in 5 contracts. I'm at $300. So, but I'm sitting here and I'm naked. I have no stops. So the best way to put stops in when you're doing this is to add an OCO and then come in here. And I just do, you can do 2 OCOs or 1 OCO. I'm going to put 2. So since I bought to enter, I'm going to sell. There's my OCO. Now I can draw, I can come back down to VWAP. And there's my, it'll take profit in a second. But I'm still in 5, particularly on 2. I don't want to be naked, so then I'm going to do 3. I don't like to, I would rather do this 3 times to have 3 targets than to go in with 3, because then you got to change 3. 47 after, jeepers, the time's going so fast. So OCO. Now, one thing to note is if I do this and sell here, it defaults back to here. So I've gone in here, I've added 1, and I forgot, I hit single and it tried to sell it. So always remember that the templates don't stay. It always goes back to single, OCO, 1, 2, boom, I stop back down. And then always make sure you check, because you can't really tell how many you're in. So then I go back, I'm 5 working orders, 1, 2, 3. So I'm still unprotected by 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, one question I had is, Joe, well, what about if I want to look at the underlying and not just the premium? So if I like to manage it based on the premium, but like Thursday, premium was all over the board, even though the option itself, SPY, was fairly straight. So I would have preferred to close on the 9 or the 20 on the SPY and not on the option. Here's where, and I have a demo for this too, but you go into here into your orders and you can create from here, you can create a closing order and you can trail it based on the SPY, the SPY itself. So you can close it based on here. So if I wanted to close it based on the 20, this is the 20. Yeah, that's the 20. If I want to base it close on the 20, then I would go in here and versus the premium, I would go in here and do it here, right click, create closing order, sell. I would change that to 1. And then I would change this to custom and I would trail. I have a PowerPoint, I think, that shows how to trail this based on the SPY amount price versus here we're basing it based on the premium there. One thing to note, if I hit all out, flatten, everything goes out. You can't just sell 1 because it's an OCO. You have to close a stop and a target and then sell. But if I flatten right now, my stops will go away, my targets go away, my entries go away. Now, so we traded this morning, 9 a.m. We're at 428, just on 5 contracts, just in the morning, with how much risk? We risked what? 20 cents times 5, so $100. Because we had confluence, we had a positive COG, we're above the VWAP, above the 20. I'm sure VIX was down. Blue confirmed it. We're all in. I went in small. Once it broke and confirmed, I added and I added. I sat through the pullback and added again. So I hope you guys find that helpful. But if you guys do nothing, get in here. I'll show you. I'll send it if you guys are interested. I'll show you how I created a real quick 1, 2 targets. So if I'm moving fast and I'm afraid I'm going to get stopped out or it'll take the target out too fast, then I do a wider 25 cents. I do 20 cents. And then if I want to do 4, and I can do 4 this way. I can say target with 2, and I got to do 2 or 4 or 6. If I do 6, it'll do 2 here and 2 here. If I do 4, it'll do 2 stops, 2 targets, 2 of each. Or I can do, but I got to do multiples of target with 2, target with 3. So if I'm going heavy, I'll go in with the 2, and then I may add 6, and then I may add 2, 2. But remember, it's like Blue always calls that TP, TP, TP. If you don't have it in increments of the TP, then it's hard to cancel it, exchange it, add it, and you've already missed possibly a pullback. So I hope that helps. OneNote, PowerPoint, your matrix is huge for me. This is where I spend a lot of my time. Now I just go in and add the ones I want, and I'll roll my delta and grab another one real quick. I do put puts and calls left and right like Blue does. And then it's nice because once you save it, if you come back, it was funny, I pulled this up, went back to today, and my trades were all in here. So when you do playback, and I came back to January 6th, my day I traded was already all in there. So it saves all of that for you. I'm going to pause. I'll take one question real quick, and I want to go to Ninja just to show you the same thing in Ninja. Anybody have a question real quick? Charts. Maximize. And then watch. Flatten. See, it doesn't always flatten. I'm still in 2. My working orders are 2. Chart. Flatten. Cannot cancel with 2 weekly. And then I'm panicking. So then create closing order, sell 2, confirm and close. There. All in, all flat, $430 on a $100 risk. So this is where when I pull back and I just traded SPY and Q. I just did the matrix and I just slowly built up my account and just did this all day, all the time. Missed hundreds of trades, didn't do Tesla, didn't do Meta, I just sat here and just practiced. And then I slowly added Qs, and then I still don't do Meta. Meta is still too crazy for me. Any questions so far? Let me show you Ninja real quick, why I like Ninja. Same principle. So the reason I like Ninja when it comes to futures is because I can do the same thing in Ninja. I can come into here in my control panel. I can make a connection. I've got all of my Apex, my funded futures. I've got my Schwab. I can trade everything in here. You hit playback, then you choose a date and time, and that date and time comes back like this. I choose January 6th, which I did January 6th at 4 p.m. And then this is the January 6th at 4 p.m. window. I've got my trade copier, so I can lead with my cash account. I can trade with my PA, my past accounts. I can trade with my eval accounts. And the cool thing is, as I'm able to say, you know, trade 1 contract in my cash, trade heavier 3 contracts in my evals, and I only trade 2 contracts in my funded past accounts. And then whatever I execute, it executes in relation to that. So if I go in with 4 in my cash, then it goes in with 8 in my evals, and it goes in with 4 in my past accounts. So, and I don't have to think about it. I come in here once and I never change it. And I can do different. I can be less risky with Q, more risky with ES. I don't trade silver, gold, oil. And once you set it, you're done. You don't have to set it again. Now, the same thing with the templates. If I'm coming in here in the morning and let's say it is 10:06, I go right click, go to 10:06 a.m. Takes a second. Now I'm 10:06 a.m. Same thing. I want to go in. I'm pulling up my lead account. So in this case, it's my lead account. And I have the same thing. I can go in 2 contracts with 1 stop loss, 2 to 1, 3 contracts. I do break out in Q. I need to go wider than ES. I have a little bit different on the Russell, and I have a little bit different on NQ. So again, I want to go in here, positive G, I'm above VWAP, B20, above EMA. I know I want to go in. I just went in on SPY. I want to go in futures. Then I just come in here and I want to go in 5 contracts. And I want to go in this one right here. So even this is different with TOS. You have to have multiples. With Ninja, I can just hit anything. If I want to do a wide stop, I can do a wide stop. And then this one already has a runner. So I have it coded so it will not stop out, but it will run on the 90 EMA, 1 tick below the 90 EMA. And I don't have to do anything. So there I'm in. And buy market. Oh, crap. I loaded the wrong one. Son of a gun. Why don't I have data? Shoot. Playback. There's no market data. Son of a gun. And I got 3 minutes. But the same thing happens. I enter in my entry. It creates me 3 stop losses and it creates me 3 targets. And then I can go in and move it. The cool thing about Ninja is it creates those smaller increments of my contracts. And then I go into trading view and I can move them around. I hate charting in Thinkorswim and I hate charting in Ninja. It's the worst. I love charting in trading view. So I enter here and then I don't touch it here. I'm in trading view, moving my targets, moving my stops. The only thing bad about trading view is you can't exit 1 contract with this and you have to come back to here and close out 1 contract. So that's the one downside with trading view. At least I haven't found a good way to do it. I have to come back to here. So I know I've covered a lot. There's so many more things I wanted to cover. Those are the main things that I had. I'm going to pause for the next 5 minutes and see if there's any questions or yeah, you can. I can take partial on trading view. That's good. Harry, that's good. I didn't know how. I learned Ninja, and what I like about Ninja is I can have very complicated. I want to trade reduce 2 if the 90 EMA breaks 1 tick. I want to go out more if it breaks 10 ticks. I want to get all the way out if it breaks on VWAP. And I can make those all part of the script. I want to do a runner. I want to trail in 3 contracts, 20 contracts. I'm in 25 contracts. And even if I go 25, I can still adjust. This is 21. I can still adjust it, and it adjusts proportionally. The thing with Ninja is just making sure you have the right targets, and then you can move it around. I said a lot. Are there any questions I can answer quick? I hope you all found this helpful. I could potentially do another one. Options. Oh, someone wanted to do a call execution. Shoot. Which we kind of did. I could do one real quick if someone wanted to see that. I can't see the notes. When placing an LCO, make sure the predominant exactly thinks MC. Do I need Tradeovate? So that's a great question. So Tradeovate is your broker, and Tradeovate is where the magic happens when it comes to your money. TradingView and Ninja sit on top of Tradeovate, or TradeStation or whatever. So you need to have a Tradeovate account. But then once, I never touch it. I never go in Tradeovate unless I'm looking at my, not even my P&L, because I look at that through Ninja. But that's really where you manage everything. On TradingView, click chart. You have the option to add stops or limits if you have a good. Thank you. Did I miss any questions? What's an OCO? OCO is one cancels the other. So and it's nice because if I just go in and add a buy order and I add a sell order and I happen to have more sales than buys, it creates a sell to enter and it's looking for me to go short. So I never go in naked. I'll often go in with a buy and a stop and add my targets later, but I never go in without, or I'll go in with a OCO and cancel the target because I let it run overnight. But a bracket OCO, like Eric said, just has those two connected. And then when the price goes up and takes profit, it closes your sell order or vice versa. That way you're never stuck and accidentally sell at a high and it keeps going higher and then you blow your account. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, and I haven't shared a lot of my slide deck. Again, this is personal. A lot of it's my own stuff. I hope it gave you guys some ideas to create your own process. TradesViz, I use TradesViz. It does help because you can track your, I used it quite a bit when I'm tracking my accuracy of a backside or front side. I'll tag it backside, tag it front side, but I don't use it so much as I used to. The nice thing with TradeViz is it has an API that connects to your accounts and refreshes without you having to export out of Tradeovate, import into the tool. I hate spreadsheets I love spreadsheets, but I hate trying to manage target entry. All that stuff can be done. There's AI that can tell you trade best in the morning. You're better at SPY and Qs. You're horrible at Tesla. It does a lot of things that really helps you. I do like it a lot. I do pay for it, but the magic for me happens when I'm taking pictures of the screens. I'm using my OneNote. I'm documenting my pictures. Where'd you guys go? There you are. So I know we're over time. I appreciate you guys. If we found this helpful, I could do this again. I will record it and save it out for us. And stick with it, you guys. You can make some good money. You can lose some good money, but just stick with it. Make it a journey. Don't have to solve it today or tomorrow. Just keep your risk. Be happy. I was happy if I made $100 on a SPY call, and I was happy if my day ended $50 in the green. And let that be okay. The hard part with small accounts is that sometimes you're like, I see Santo posting at $800. I see Joe 1,000. I know Blue's making a ton, and you get discouraged. But don't, just look for green days. $50, $20, $100, $10, and you're slowly, as your confidence builds, as you see your edge, then you'll be able to add size and scale better. So hope you guys have a great Sunday, and I will see you guys in the trenches. Thanks.
You're back. You're muted.